Hello and welcome to the dev commentary on my co-op level, Robo Riot Prison Break. It's part two of the Robo Riot series. We still haven't made a third one, but we're working on it. The narrative is that you're supposed to that instead of GLaDOS being in charge of the facility, Cave Johnson has been uploaded into the genetic life form and disk operating system, and has gone crazy. And somehow GLaDOS is also still in charge of the robots, and she's trying to lead a revolution against him. And so you're tasked to break those personality cores out and use them to corrupt Cavedos. So yeah, that's one over there. They're represented by turrets here. Um, it was the easiest thing to work with. It's one of the few NPCs that I could really get to be useful and carried around and do what I want to. So this chamber was actually used to be very different originally. There used to be Deadly Goo, where you were looking just a couple seconds ago, but it didn't help, and the turrets would often, because it has to be bounced out of that chamber, would often bounce directly into the Deadly Goo, and that would end the level right there. So I pulled out the Deadly Goo because I wasn't feeling it would really add anything. So and there's a little shower decal. I added that because it makes it a little bit easier for players to know what to do, I guess. But so this is a problem that I always encounter, and I actually really enjoy. I've a lot of my testing just was spent with me just yelling and chasing after that thing. I personally really love it. Yeah, so the NPC that you're seeing right now is not actually the one that we're gonna plug in. We're about to plug it in. I'm actually really proud of these plugs. They light up when you've got the right turret carrying, that you're carrying around. And that one that you're seeing right now is not actually the one you were just carrying. It's a static one that was who wasn't being rendered prior to that. And we just kill off the original one. So this test that I'm standing in right now, the shared momentum, took a lot of effort to get right. I eventually just made these little panels. You just saw one. Yeah, you can see both of them right there. That only allow enough space for portals to be placed in one area, and there's a portal like a locator helper there, so that they're always placed in the right spot, so that you will always be set up to do this little feat over here. So unfortunately, aside from that wonderful use of technology, the space sphere room that you're in right now is probably one of the weaker ones. I had to change it a little bit. I originally had it so that these all in a row and they clearly map to what you're going to use, and I preserved that here. It's still a little confusing, but I added in the markers so that you know what you're looking at and what you're supposed to be doing. Um, yeah, it it's a little bit difficult. Most of the critiques have been that this is a little annoying. You can see it going out. This is the way that you're supposed to solve it. You never actually grab a hold of the space turret until you're in the main chamber. Another issue is that while you can get your friend back, once you step off the button, uh, you can't get out anymore. There's no way to portal out, so the only solution I found is just to jump in the deadly goo and kill myself. Uh, Surprisingly effective. As you see, we've plugged in the space one also. And again, it's a wonderful little bit of sleight of hand there. And this is the fun trap level. This playthrough, I didn't get to show off what I intended as much, but it's still a pretty good way of going about it. Um, I am unnecessarily fond of that little trap. Um, so yeah, this my partner thought that that was the one we were supposed to grab. You see that the plug isn't lit up, so you can tell that that's not the one we're supposed to be using. Um, so yeah, there's this nice little trap door. I just wanted to get the GLaDOS lines in there. So those X's, you're supposed to actually just screw your partner over. You're supposed to drop a portal underneath them so that they drop out and do this and grab that. Because death is a slap on the wrist here, so it's really easy to just kill your partner just so that they can clear out the room. That's in fact highly encouraged. Um, there are still a few issues with this chamber, it's a little bit hard to. It's really hard to see Rick up there. I put that orange light in so you can tell that there's something up there, but I still find most players don't can't quite see it. I'm gonna have to change that. There used to be a button here that you would stand on and it would drop the floor out underneath those three turrets that I'm killing right now. But it ended up being too difficult to implement. I had to switch around the turrets and it just wouldn't work. There are a couple different ways of solving this over here. This is just uh, one way of doing it. Um, and while you don't actually need both players for what I'm going to be doing right here, which is just hitting both of the buttons, you can actually just have one player hit both really quickly to drop Rick. You saw Rick up there. It's easiest when you have two players. Um, yeah. Originally, Rick and the other three spheres that you need to grab were the damage cores. You would know that they wouldn't shoot you. But actually was really hard to get them to stand around and to teleport and to use all the functionality that I wanted. So I ended up pulling that out and just using the normal turret ones. And so the way that this works is that there's a teleport trigger right around it, or I think it's just a normal trigger by now. Is it just trigger once, so that it goes when it detects that there's an NPC in there and it kills off the NPC. It enables the draw for the prop static. I'm still really proud of that. I think it was a really great way of dealing with it, especially since you're not going to be picking the guys up again. You don't need it anymore. So I thought it was a really really good way of doing things. So this was originally a lot easier. You could even just solve it with one person. But the way that it's set up now, you need both players' portals in order to actually get it to work. I think even with what we did, it didn't quite where we didn't quite align it with this playthrough. So I have to go back and fix that. But or I'm obviously fixing it right now in the level. It works perfectly. There we go. And I actually named this turret Steve. It's just the defective turret lines, but one of my classmates used those lines really well in one of his levels, and I kept calling that turret Steve, so I called this one Steve. I actually was working with that guy in making this level. He was the one who suggested a lot of the things that I ended up implementing. So yeah, this does not have as much competition as I originally liked. Personally, I really love just messing with my co-op partners, and this did not have as much as I had intended, but I still think it had a good enough amount. And so that's pretty much all of it. Thank you for your time.